The question I most often get asked how I have been able to write 24 books in the past 10 years while working, while helping raise my younger siblings, and the answer is that I just did it. That may sound like an oversimplification, but it is that simple. It wasn't easy, though. In order to just do it, I first had a writing routine. I made sure that I prioritized writing every day. So I still get up early and I write an hour every day before the rest of the day starts, uninterrupted time. When I was in college and I had early morning classes, that wasn't always possible, so I would come home and do it at night. I wasn't always able to devote a full hour to it. So sometimes it would only be 15 minutes, but I made a point that even if I couldn't devote the full hour block, that I would take some time during the day to write. There was one day where I wrote 18,000 words because that's all I did. 18,000 words in a day. I have only done that once. Most of my progress in my writing sprints has just been incremental over the years, over weeks or months. So the thing I hear from people when they sit down and they do write as part of their routine is that they just aren't able to write when they do have the time. And I don't really believe in writer's block. I'm one of those people. I think that writer's block is almost always not a lack of research, a lack of knowledge, a lack of ideas. I have never actually met a writer who was low on ideas. We are just teeming with ideas. Most of us have more ideas than we could write in 10 lifetimes. The issue, I believe, always comes back to fear. Usually fear of not being good enough. So writers are creatives, and a lot of us have picked up the belief either that we are not creative, or that we are bad writers, that we're not good at things, or we feel the pressure that we need to write a masterpiece. I'm going to stop you right now and tell you that this first book is not going to be a masterpiece. Maybe you are one of the 5 outliers, but probably not. So you need to write this book and let it be bad. You need to look at your first book as a stepping stone. A lot of people get ashamed of their early drafts, of their early books. I don't think that makes sense. So when you get to the top of a staircase, you don't look down to the bottom step and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever took the first step way down there. No, you understand that you had to take the first step to get to the 100th step, or whatever the top is. People talk about this all the time. Give yourself permission to suck. You need to accept that your book is going to be bad. And I'm pretty sure it will not be as bad as you're thinking it will be. When I go back and I look at some of my early drafts, I can see the ways that I needed to mature as a writer and as a person too sometimes. But I'm able to look at those and accept this was a learning experience. We need to stop looking at J.K. Rowling, Harper Lee, J.R.R. Tolkien, and C.S. Lewis, and these people who wrote these great, what we consider masterpieces, as normal. They're outliers. Most of them scrapped their first dozens of first drafts, and a lot of them, if you read their early stuff versus their later work, massive improvement. So you need to give yourself permission to learn. This book you're writing is a learning experience, especially if it's your first one. If you're worried about what people are going to think about it, you don't have to show this book to anyone until you're comfortable with it. Who's going to make you show them the book? It's completely on your terms. You can keep it buried in your computer for as long as you want, indefinitely if you so choose. Right now, you're just working to finish this book, and you need to not think about what other people are going to think. And you need to not have the pressure on yourself of hitting the New York Times. The New York Times bestsellers are a sham, by the way. So I really like Gail Carson Levine's advice in her book, Writing Magic. In her writing exercises, she goes through and she makes you just put out words, regardless of what they are. That is possibly the most helpful book on writing I've ever read. It's like that thick. I'll link to it in the description. We get so hung up on wanting to be great, on wanting to be good writers, that we don't focus on just being crappy writers first. The first story I wrote was really crappy Chronicles of Narnia fan fiction. And it was unapologetically self-insert Narnia fan fiction. I don't know if I have it anymore, but it was so bad. It was like an 11-year-old's wildest dreams. that ended up becoming my first book. Like, it went through so many different reiterations and reincarnations, but that became my first book, The Key of Automatons. All its incarnations later, after 3 or 4 rounds of editing and re-editing, is still not what I consider to be my best work, but I am proud of that book because that book broke the seal and allowed me to write all these other books, 23 others that have followed it. So you need to give yourself permission to fail, and you need to give yourself permission to be crappy at this. You need to form a writing routine. I need to just write the thing. If you aren't writing a whole lot in the beginning, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. You're allowed to tap out 20 words per hour. In the beginning, we don't want you to stay there, but if that's what happens in the beginning, it's what happens in the beginning. This is learning. As you write more, you're able to write more because you get momentum and you learn how to do this. Speaking from experience. Just to sum up, how I write so many books and how I write them so fast is I write every day and I let myself suck in the beginning. Even if I could just get you to grab onto one of those things, so many more of y'all would be able to finish your books, and so many more of y'all will be able to reach your goals with this. These are the 2 things I see hanging up writers the most. Out of all the workshops I do, the writers groups I'm in, the friends I've made online, these 2 things are the things that prevent writers from writing more books more than anything. And these are the things that stop people from finishing their first book. So get a hold of these 2 things and you'll be able to write books faster than the people who don't, way faster than the people who don't, I promise you. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or topics you think would be helpful. Until then, happy writing, good luck, and I do believe in you.